One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Welcome, everybody. This thing on? Tick, tick, tick. Seems like it's been forever since I've been here in front of a camera talking to you guys. Had a great weekend. Ashley and the kids came down. Oh, it was just incredible what we had to do. It was just fun. It was just fun stepping away from the madness. I'm glad President Trump had time to step away from the madness as well, because it seems as though right now that people have just been inundated with insanity. And so today's show, I was going to tell you, today's show might be a little bit different. It might piss some people off. It might lose some subscribers, but that's just the way it's going to be. I'm going to tell you how I feel. I'm going to tell you why I feel the way I feel. I've got some content for you to show you some different things. And then at 2:30, Mark Beckman, who is one of the producers of the Melania movie, he will be here. Hopefully everything he remembers, he'll be here at 2:30 and we can talk to him. But in any event, let's get going. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. I hope you had a chance to seriously just step away from the insanity. It is now enveloped all of X, and it's fake. And I'm going to prove to you that it's fake. You see, people are chasing dollars, not credibility. They're chasing dollars, not real information. The more they can chase what the red meat people want to eat, the more money that can be made, even if it abandons principles. At this point, I don't believe many of the people believe what they post. But, you know, if you can follow what's going on Fox News. Here we are, day 21, and they're still talking about Savannah Guthrie's mom. God bless her. But it seems as though there's been a shift where people are jockeying for position, seeing who can be more bombastic than the other, instead of just being and worrying about America. I'm going to show you something. Many of you may not know this at all. And so I don't want to be too technical in this, but there's a reason why a lot of people have been posting about that guy on the island. I'm going to show you this. This is something called Google Trends. Not sure if you've ever familiarized yourself with this site, and you probably never had a reason to familiarize yourself with this site. Google Trends tells you specifically what people are looking for, what people are conversing, searching on Google. And so you find a lot of people who are trying to get likes and clicks and views. They will chase what people are searching for, even if it doesn't matter to them in regards to how they built their channel, who they are. It gets eyeballs. Eyeballs equal cash. So I want to show you something, because this is going to explain a whole lot to you as we move forward. I put in 4 search terms. 4. I put in Epstein, I put in immigration, I put in Trump, and I put in fraud. And you would think, we're talking about President Trump, he'd be high up there. You would think with everything going on with the fraud, that'd be something people would want. Nope, not so much. I checked over the last, what I got here, over 30 days. Over the last 30 days, look what is being, and the color codes are here. Blue is Epstein, red is immigration, gold is Trump, green is fraud. And as you can see, over the last 30 days, what is the highest point right now? Oh, let me move that down further so you guys can see it. You can see blue is way above the yellow, way above it. And it has been above it. You can't even see fraud. And let me see if I can raise this up. You can't even see fraud. It's like flatlined. It's like dead. Nobody cares about fraud, and nobody cares about immigration in terms of what they're searching for. So the people who are in marketing versus, wanting to do principality, want to talk about things that actually matter, they're feeding the beast. They're openly saying, you know what? We know a lot of people are looking for that kind of stuff. Let's just keep feeding them that. And if we keep feeding them that, then they'll keep looking for that. And I think it's important that you understand how things work on the backside of what some people do with content. So if you see the overwhelming amount of people that are searching on Google, regardless if they're Trump fans or not, it doesn't matter to these people. It doesn't matter that they're supporting Trump. See, that's the part you have to now realize and understand what's motivating people. They don't care if it's Trump supporters. If people are talking about the guy from the island, we're going to give them as much of that red meat as possible. And then at the same time, we can combine the two of those things. We can combine the guy from the island and Trump. And if we can combine number 3 of all the people who hate Trump, wow, we've got a bonanza. We can keep talking about hate Trump, Trump sucks, and the guy from the island, and we can just keep going until that graph drops. When nobody's talking about fraud, let's not talk about fraud. If people aren't talking about immigration, let's not talk about immigration. What are we going to talk about, friends? We're going to talk about the guy from the island and how bad it is Trump, because we don't care whether or not we're supporting Trump. We don't care about that. That's not what's important. What's important is that we continue to feed this beast that gives us money, that gives us clicks and likes. And it doesn't matter if we're supporting Trump, and actually works better if we don't. We can completely trash him and they will love it. Well, what about, don't people have their own constitution, inner constitution? Don't people want to stand up for their beliefs? The hell with beliefs, I can't cash beliefs. That's how they respond. And it's sad because over the last 2 weeks or so, I've seen it over and over and over. People who I would think were, Trump supporters, I'm like, Ah, you too. Oh, you too. You too. And I'm telling you right now, it'll be a cold day in hell before you see me start trashing Trump. I have my own principles. I have my own credibility and substance where I want to see America great. I don't care about chasing clicks. I don't care about chasing subscribers. If people come, fantastic. If they don't, that's okay too. But there are people out there who are trying to skew what you think. And there's too many people out there who don't know that they are part of the skewage, that they're taking what people think and putting that at the bottom of their list of importance. Don't care what you think. I care about what people are going to click on. And they will do clickbait titles and they'll do things like that. And they'll just do it because they don't care. And I think what's happening is a lot of people are surprised that people they have trusted, people they have followed, people they have listened to, get on camera and lie their asses off. They don't care. They don't care about you. You thought they cared about you. They're just feeding the beast. And they'll move on as soon as that graph drops. If that graph doesn't drop, they'll keep doing it. And then they'll come back, oh, Trump's doing great. And like, I thought you just said there's no chance that this man could possibly be, we could win the midterms. No chance. Well, I understand why you're saying no chance. The problem is not enough normies understand, and they get sucked in. So let me try to be your safe haven, even though some of you may disagree with what I'm going to tell you. Now, over the weekend, an amazing speech happened. And that amazing speech was by Marco Rubio. And a big part of what Marco Rubio talked about and ties into this is culture. And you don't see many people out there talking about culture. And you don't see many people talking today, even though it's President's Day, understanding what it means to be America and why immigration does matter. I had posted this earlier on Twitter. I said, as I do often, I was doing some training this weekend, which i.e. means watching old Rush Limbaugh shows. He ignored X. He knew truth was hidden on X, which ties into what I just said about the algorithms. They don't want truth. And if you want to speak truth, you got to get out in front of this stuff and say, understand you're being misled. He was so right. Elon Musk has given us a great tool, but it requires great discernment for it to be of any value whatsoever. You have to be able to look at Marco Rubio's speech and then look at the responses and understand that today's President's Day, and there's got to be some sense of pride. But we won't see that from people. It seems like pride has gone out the window. Attack Trump and then be a closet lawyer, and everybody's got an opinion on that island guy. But I want you to hear this from Rush. Today being, President's Day, I want you to, let's go back in the archives and hear what Rush had to say about something so simple as immigration and what it means to Americans.
Okay, the number one agenda item if I became president. Do you realize how long that list is to choose one thing from? But if I had to, it would be immigration. See, I believe that there is a distinct and unique American culture that dates to our founding that is rooted in freedom. American freedom, the freedom that's codified in both the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. The uniqueness of our freedom is right there in the documents. Our freedom specifically says, our Constitution specifically tells the government what it cannot do. Our Constitution doesn't spell out what government can do. It tells government what it can't do in abridging our freedoms. That's a kind of freedom that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. And that freedom produced a distinct culture.
All right, so I'm going to stop there because this is what it's all about. And that's what Marco Rubio was talking when he went over to Munich, and why they laughed at him. So not they, but a few people laughed at him, which I'll show you. Why they're mocking Trump is because the foundation of this country, the presidents who we celebrate today, built this country based on the fact of culture. And why culture is so important, because given the opportunity, these people will erase American culture. We used to stand for something. Of course, we used to stand for the flag. Some of us still do, but we stood for things that, boys playing in girls' sports, people in dresses, guys in dresses coming to story time hour, guys thinking that they all of a sudden can become women. We used to stand for things. Hey, no, that ain't happening. That's not how it is. That's not who we are. And they've twisted that to keep saying what they want is how we are. Oh, that's not who we are. No, that's absolutely who we are. We did not come this far to have all this socialism, communism, transformerism, immigrationism take over our country. We've had mistakes. We've done bad things. We've all had mistakes in our personal lives and done bad things. But we keep heading straight forward with that culture. And they're taking chisels to it right now. Let's go with Rush.
Distinct from any other culture in the world. And it's why this country remains the one place people want to come to. Maintaining that culture is key to maintaining this country.
Perfect. Maintaining the culture is key to maintaining the country. We know it, and they know it. And they are doing everything they possibly can to tear your culture apart. They went after theater, they went after music, they went after sports, obviously politics, then they went into gender, anything that they can to destroy American culture is on board, is the plan, the long-standing plan for the Democrats. And if we look at that foundation, just come in at that foundation and go, wait a second, everything they're doing, and they take the language, can't say certain words. Oh, no, that's offensive. Can't say that. Our culture, good or bad, has been our culture. Our culture, good or bad, is why other countries, people from other countries have tried to come here. I want some of that. I know it's not perfect. I'm not going to go with this or that, but I can't wait to get there. You're telling me it's the land of opportunity, and as long as I work hard, I can get something? Yes. When do we become the land of don't worry about anything, we'll give it to you? The reason why our founding fathers, why they were the way they were, is because they were businessmen. They had businesses that they came together and said, we're going to run this country this way. No one could have foreseen all the crap that's going on right now. No longer the land of opportunity, the land of what can they give me? And we need to protect that right now. And there's so many people willing to take it away from us, whether it be through political means or other. And we have a giant crosshairs on us. Each one of us each one of us who's not one of these whack jobs has a crosshair, and they want to take it away from you. God forbid these people get back in power. Do the people who keep trashing Trump and saying he's never going to win, what do you think your life would be like if they took over? I'm going to show you what your life's going to be like. There won't be an X. They will go after Elon with a vengeance. Then where are you going to be? You see, some of these people are Johnny-come-latelys. They weren't where we were years ago. You look in their profile, you can say, oh, when did you join Twitter? It's got the date right there. And you start seeing things like 2018, 2019, like, you're a baby, you're an embryo. You don't even know what it was like. So you can't even understand what happens if it goes back to being that way. You know, I had I had read something. Well, I'll get it for you because it's pretty interesting.
That culture has created economic power, military power the world has never known. This country of less than 300 years has become wealthier, more prosperous, larger, and more powerful than any nation in the history of the world. Nations have been around thousands of years, and that's because of a distinct American culture. And that culture is under assault via illegal immigration. I'm not opposed to legal immigration, merit-based, with strategies behind it, where we allow immigrants from, what kind of education we want them to have. How do we make America better in our immigration policy? But illegal immigration is a whole different thing, and it's got to stop.
Has to. We know that. And they feel just the opposite. They have to have it because it's not about the country. It's not wondering if there's a doctor from another country that wants to relocate here. It's not about the guy who's a lawyer that may want to relocate here and start a business. It's how many people can we import to vote for us? And we can do that by just giving them free stuff. And that has become the strategy. And the only way that strategy works is by destroying what the values and culture that America has today and has had for 245, 49 years. They don't want it. They would love to walk in and shred the Constitution. They don't want it. And so how can you even think to be tearing down the person who does want it? You don't have any alternatives right now. It appears like Stockholm syndrome. How can you be talking outside the family? And I'm not saying people shouldn't have differing opinions. Oh, you may not like, the way he did this. You may not like the way they did that. You may not, but to say he's a loser, I'm not voting again, the Democrats are going to win, that is essentially cutting your own throat. No matter what, they stick together, but our people all think they know better. They all think that they have some giant idea that means more, that has more importance, when all it is they're trying to, juxtapose, dance for more attention, like babies. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Can you imagine, just for an instance, if we were truly unified as a group? When people would be promoting, it's bad enough we don't get any media coverage. Now we got to fight our own side. Culture, in its essence, is being ripped from us.
If we don't stop it, then this distinct, unique American culture isn't going to survive. I believe it's under assault right now. And even if it's not by design, you simply cannot have millions of people who cannot speak the language and are not interested in learning it, who have no experience with our kind of freedom, who have no capability in our capitalistic economy.
Rush couldn't foresee. Rush couldn't foresee that we would ever have communists and socialists actually getting votes in this country. How is that happening? How is it that we're even seeing that some people like AOC and Mandami could even have the ability to garner votes? How does that happen? How does it come from an uprising? Where does that well spring from? It springs because of the denial and destruction of the American culture. And it started way back in the education system. They knew what they were doing, and we all looked the other way. Oh, that couldn't happen. Oh, that couldn't happen. What? They got a communist in New York City? Yep. Because too many people were worried about their own profiles, their own thing. They need to get the clicks, got to get the likes, I need some more of those endorphins. And it just keeps happening over here. Do you think that when they have their strategy meetings on the left, they look and go, man, I love that they're fighting with Steve Bannon and Alex Jones and Joe Pasovic and this person and that person? You think they sit there and go, these people are morons? These people are absolute morons. They're doing our bidding for us. They're beating up their own family. They're trashing their own people. You see that on the left anywhere? It's the difference between having an opinion and tweeting out 100 times how Trump sucks and how he's going to lose the election. Because then you're just re-emphasizing it to the people who don't know any better. You're contributing to the demise of our own culture by bitching and whining and blackpilling, whatever words you want to use. And I know people come back and me, Barry, we're not automatrons. We have our own reasons. We have our own feelings. But it should never overcome that number one feeling. It should never overtake what's most important. Because if it overtakes what is most important, then you're left with a basic destruction of our culture. If everything that Trump's doing, there's stuff in there you don't like, I understand. Everybody does have their own opinion. But to say it sucks and we're going to lose when your destiny is over here on the left, who's making no bones about what they're going to do, we should be doing everything we can to make sure we continue to win so that our way of lives, collective way of lives, continues. I don't want to wake up one day in a communist country.
And if we have a political party like we do that's not interested in helping them improve, but wants them to remain dependent so they will forever vote for that party, that's the Democrats, then you can say goodbye to this distinct American culture. And when you say goodbye to that, you say goodbye to the last best hope for freedom around the world, because that's, among many other things, what the United States is. So I would, whether it took building a
Quick here was I am so sick and tired of people saying that they told the president this and they told the president that. And I told him he better do it this way or you're going to lose the election. Because number one, you ain't got it like that. And number two, the disrespect you would have to tell the president of the United States that he's doing something wrong. Who the F are you? Who are you to tell the president of the United States, if you don't change this, you're going to lose the midterms in November. You're done. It ain't going to work. So I call bullshit. I call it straight up. I call it pandering for likes and clicks, because there's no way you took your ass into the Oval Office, the heralded Oval Office, and looked at the president of the United States and said, you need to do what I'm telling you because I know more than you. 80 million people voted for President Trump. How many people voted for one of these people? How many people voted for Alex Jones? How many people voted for Jack Posobiec? How many people voted for Steve Bannon? I like, and I've listened to some of the stuff that they have said because I listen to a lot of things. But what I'm seeing right now is quite disturbing. What I'm seeing right now is people jockeying for positions and trying to utter some sort of self-importance that even at this point is more important than President Trump. I want unity. I want people understanding that's my pitcher on the mound, and if he got pounded in this inning and he gave up 3 home runs, he's still on my effing team, and I'm not going to go on X and go, man, this guy sucked today. We're never going to win the World Series with this guy. He sucks. Because I don't even want you on the team. Never mind being a sports writer. I don't want to be involved with you. And I don't say that any of those guys need me. Who cares? But it seems like the Candace Owen mode of tweeting has taken over. And our culture is dying in front of our eyes. Where the culture at this point is, what can I do to inflate myself instead of supplicating yourself to the man you voted for? And I'll say it 5, 10 more times. I am not telling you not to have an opinion, but I am telling you your opinion is not more important than the country. It just drives me crazy when I see these black doom-saying people out there, and I'm thinking to myself, you're making money, you're getting Elon bucks, that's great. What are you going to do if what you're saying comes true? What's your alternative? Some of these people have children. Some of these people have wives, families. The Democrats want to destroy all of that. They want to destroy your family. They want to destroy the way you raise your kids. They think they're entitled to tell you how you should raise your kids. They don't care who lives in your neighborhood. No matter what you've acquired, they want a piece of it. And you got the cojones to go out there and bitch at the president. Culture. Culture has to matter.
Wall, finishing the wall. I would get tough. I would enforce existing immigration law. I would be serious. I would blow up the whole concept of sanctuary cities and sanctuary.
You know, it's funny. I just saw this comment, and he said Barry is starting to sound doomsday. Just the opposite. I guess I'm not coming across correctly. I am not at all a doomsday say person. I'm saying we got the greatest effing country in the world. We've got, I think, the best president we've ever had. I think one of the best administrations we've ever seen. And we have the defenders of our culture in place. I think we could win so much that we don't have to worry about it if we get rid of these people who are doing the doomsaying. And then let me just tell you this one. I think they're all full of crap. See, I just told you, I just spent this weekend with my grandkids and my daughter and my wife, and we went out to dinner and we went out to lunch and we did this and we did that. And nowhere did I go where's anybody talking about Epstein. But you turn on X and it's like, oh my God. Oh, oh, are you serious? No, I'm telling you just the opposite. And if I came across wrong, let me just tell you, I love America. I think President Trump is doing a fantastic job. And I just want you to understand we are winning. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm telling you just the opposite. Maybe we need to give Twitter an enema and just step away from these crazy people.
They're violations of law. They're illegal. They should not be tolerated. And if I were president, they wouldn't be. I'd do my damn best to see to it that they weren't tolerated and that they were eliminated. Because if that doesn't happen, then all the rest of this that we're fighting about in America remains academic. So that would be the first thing. Because I think a lot of other things would be accomplished if we succeeded in that. That would help the economy. It would ensure the basic elements of freedom that we have. It would promote merit-based achievement and accomplishment throughout the country, because that would be how you have to get here. It would dramatically improve our education system, not having to account for people that can't speak the English language, not having to account for people who may not even want to learn it. And this is not a diatribe against the other peoples of the world, but the problem in the world is not us. The United States is not the problem. The United States.
And that's exactly what Marco Rubio went to Europe and said. It ain't us. We're doing okay, which is, I don't know how you think I was being a doomsayer. I'm just the opposite. Yeah, we're doing okay. Trust me. One of the things my grandson said, we were riding around, he's like, is it always this crowded? And then he needed a new pair of basketball sneakers. The mall it looked like Christmas. It was packed. What you see on X doesn't look like real life. And I think we need to underscore that and go, hey, I'm going to go and pick up my phone here, wherever it is, and I'm going to wade into the cesspool and see what other people, oh yeah, they're still doing it. They're still talking about this and that. Well, are they talking about how, stores are packed and restaurants are packed and the economy is great? People are building, people are selling houses, people are doing, why are you whining? And I went, and the answer to that question is what I showed you earlier. They're not whining. They're doing very well financially. They're doing it because everybody in their circle is talking about the Epstein. And so they just keep feeding the beast. They're driving nice cars. They're living in nice houses. They're going to nice restaurants. They're buying their wives and children presents. But oh, woe is me, Epstein. We were never going to win the midterms. They're lying to you. So I'm sorry if I came across as being a doomsayer. It's everything but. We had a great time this weekend. Everywhere we went was fun. And I hope you had as great a weekend as well. And it's not till we step back into here where things change. But I'm hoping to change that today. So that's kind of what I'm saying.
This is the solution to most of the problems that exist. But the American left today thinks the United States is the problem and that we have engaged in all kinds of mean-spirited extremist behavior. We've stolen resources from other countries. And so we kind of owe it to the people of the world to come here since we've been so mean, which is, folks, it's a bunch of caca.
Yep.
We simply cannot absorb the world. Our objective has to be to maintain who we are and then export capitalism. Because if you ask me, the problem in the world is the unequal distribution of capitalism. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't be the only ones to enjoy it. It's under assault constantly by the Democrat Party, but they need to be defeated each and every day.
I want you to listen and remember that. You're going to hear it a few more times. They need to be defeated each and every day. Each and every day, we need to be working on defeating the left. Democrats, left, liberals, whatever they are, each and every day. Whatever that win is, each and every day, we need to beat them. Yesterday, how did we beat them yesterday? I don't know, 110,000 people show up in little Daytona Beach, Florida to watch cars go around and around and around for 3 hours. Wow, you're talking a small rednecky town like Daytona Beach sold 100 and something thousand tickets, and people were out there with RVs, and they were there for it. By the way, if you've never been there, the Daytona 500 is not one day. They have something in Daytona called race week, where all week long people schedule their vacations and they descend down Daytona in their RVs and their campers, and they park there and they have parties and they go to restaurants. People only think the Super Bowl does that. The Daytona 500 and NASCAR do it every single weekend. There was, 60, 70,000 people at the Super Bowl? They do that every single weekend. From now until November, there will be a race at some track and there'll be 100,000 people there. But it doesn't get talked about. And then what I thought was so interesting yesterday, what was so fantastic to me, is that the guy who won the Daytona 500, which at the end of it was amazing. Do you know who the car owner was? You see, the car owner should have been celebrated by lefty media. The guy who owned the car that the guy won the race in was Michael Jordan. A black man owns a NASCAR team. Those are his cars. Those are his employees. And the greatest basketball player of all time, who's won championship after championship, now has a championship in NASCAR. And so if it was really about diversity, remember the whole Bubba Wallace thing? Didn't see much of the left screaming about Michael Jordan winning NASCAR. It's all fake. The only thing they tried to do was try to embarrass him because he was tickling the boy's butt. I'm like, you realize that's his friend, right? His one of his partner's kids, and they joust. You don't dig on your own kids and pinch them into, yeah, bunch of idiots. Michael Jordan, the best basketball player in the world, 7 championships, won NASCAR. And none of the DEI hounds even talked about it. You see, it's not about success, even if you're black. It only goes to the immigrants, illegal immigrants, and people who can't do anything. They probably don't like that Michael Jordan won NASCAR. They probably think he crossed over to the white world. He's out there all them rednecks. Well, guess what? From now until November, I think he's got 4 cars. I think he has 4 race cars in a race, depending on who qualifies and who gets in. And one of his cars won the race. But turn on MSNBC and see if you see it on there, or BET. Nope. It's not about him being black. It's not about being black and successful. It's about being black and towing the line. You have to do what they want you to do. They don't want American culture. Michael Jordan wants to celebrate American culture. The kid grew up in North Carolina, went to North Carolina and played with Dean Smith and won, championships there. Then he goes to the NBA. He's great. He makes money. He's great. He gives back. He has some personal problems. We all do. And then he owns NASCAR team. You can't get much more American than that.
These political battles we have with them. And number 1 would be securing the border and maintaining a population of people that are devoted to and love the United States of America and our distinct culture.
You see, but you can't have that with the other stuff, because I would often want to ask some of these people, do you love America? I mean, yeah, I can say it. My dad was a soldier. My brother went to West Point. My grandson is being recruited by Navy to play football. He'd have a wonderful life if he went there. I love America. I love what it affords. And I'm not going to turn my back on it because of some file. And I feel like I have to have a disclosure or warning button. By the way, yes, what happened to every single one of those women and girls is atrocious, and anybody who did so should, meet their comeuppance. That being said, we're going to talk about that later, but, the culture of America is under attack, just like Rush said. And I just think that people should love America more than they love X. And that's what I feel is a huge problem. And the left is going to take advantage of it. And they're going to try and tear it down any way they can. Before I move into the interview, again, I apologize about the whole thing with the microphone. But again, I'm sitting here by myself, having a good time. And even then, I don't take myself that seriously. So don't get worried about it. All right, let me tell you about Rumble, one of today's sponsors. You may have seen the conversations happening online lately. Censorship is back, and it's happening everywhere. Platforms are controlling narratives called algorithms and pushing the stuff they want you to see. We need to fight back. Rumble is the only company that has stood the test of time and deserves our support. On one side, Rumble is challenging big tech, censorship, and now they've also introduced another site, something that will give us protection from big banks shutting us off. Banks can cancel our accounts and they can freeze our cards. So that's why they've launched Rumble Wallet, a wallet that no one can cancel and a wallet that supporters can use to instantly tip their creators. without any middlemen taking cuts. With Rumble Wallet, you control your money. Not a bank, not a government, not a tech company, not even Rumble can touch the money. It's yours. It's only yours. It's yours to protect your future and your family. It's not only just a wallet to buy and save, but it allows you to support your family favorite creators by easily tipping them with the click of a button. There will be no fees when you tip my channel or others, and we actually receive the tip instantly, unlike other platforms where we have to wait for payouts. Support my show and other creators by clicking the tip button on my Rumble channel if you're watching on Rumble. It's wallet.rumble.com. Download Rumble Wallet today, open an account, and step away from the big banks for good. Wallet.rumble.com, or search Rumble Wallet in your Play Store or App Store. I will be right back in 90 seconds. I won't even turn off my mic so you can hear me cough.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
So right now, as we speak, President's Day, this is going on in New York at Trump Tower. Leftist protesters outside Trump Tower in New York City, which he's not there, to take part in a President's Day flip-off event where they'll be pointing their middle fingers at the Trump building in unison. I kid you not, Trump derangement syndrome. They're walking around with signs and they're looking to give the middle finger to an inanimate object, a building. A building. That's what these people are doing. Imagine being that much of a nut that you're walking around and you're giving the middle finger to a building. And you've got people on X that are empowering these people by saying that the GOP or MAGA can't win. So I'm going to talk to you for a little bit about this whole Epstein thing that's been happening. And some of you guys may not like this. And even personally, I have a confession. I've changed my mind completely. I believe releasing these so-called files was a huge mistake. Huge. Here's why it was a mistake. I mean, it wasn't like Pam Bondi had any choice. There was a law written, so they had to release them. But the whole thing has been a giant mistake. So you may not like this, but the average person, maybe not you, but the average person isn't smart enough to look at something like this with any kind of legal nuance. They have no idea what they're looking at. They have no idea what can be used, this information can be used for, and they don't know and have no idea how long this information many of us have seen. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but unless you work for the FBI or the DOJ, you really have no need to read these documents. It doesn't do anything for you. Nothing. You know, people will say things like, I need to be informed. But honestly, you don't. What you really just want, or most people want, are juicy gossip and details and drama. It's the same reason why these people are pushing this stuff out. I showed you for Google Trends. That's the reason they put it out, is because people keep searching for it. That's why people watch true crime. That's why people watch cops. They want to, that's why some people watch NASCAR. They want to see the crashes. The crashes are fun. But it's not good for us down here in our souls to think about a bunch of evil that we have no control over. We got to fight enough evil on our own where we shouldn't have to ingest even more. I want you to think about that. I have sat at home with Robin on television, and we've seen movie trailers where she's clicked. I don't even want to see that. I don't want that in my home. There are songs on the radio that some of you guys heard them would turn them off. I'm not even taking that in. Not going to do it. I know there's evil. I just don't want it in my home. I sincerely hope that anybody who did something is legitimately held to some form of accountability. But it's not my job and it's not your job to hold these people to accountability. It's not even my job to expose these people because I don't know what I'm exposing. There's no way you know what you're exposing. We can see results. We can see what happened to these kids and women. We can understand how horrible it is, but we have no control over the accountability aspect of it. And it's seemingly almost nobody does. Here's why, and this may shock you. There is nothing you've seen thus far, and I do mean nothing, not a name, not an email, not a file, that is going to be the catalyst for someone to be arrested. Shamed? Sure, if you can verify it. We got congressmen standing up on stage and calling people's names out, and these people aren't even involved. But the apology didn't come. Too late at that point. John Smith, he did it. I wasn't even there. Oh, sorry. Nope, not sorry anymore. You don't have context. There is no context. I want you to sit back and imagine this. You're reading something from 2018, 2019, and it sounds horrific. But what can you do with it? Well, so-and-so sent this email about grape soda and pizza. We're perpetuating insanity. And we're blaming people because they're not acting on it. They're not doing anything. Epstein's not going away. He already went away, we think. What exactly do you expect to get out of this? And how exactly do you expect what the end result that you want to even happen? They can't find this woman's mother from 2 weeks ago. They're looking at gloves in the desert. They're trying to fly around and measure a pacemaker from 2 weeks ago, and they can't do anything. And you want people from 10, 12 years to be dragged over the coals for an email? We don't have bank records. I know some people think there are videos out there. That would work, but you don't, trust me, you don't want to see them. It does nothing for you. If we were to find out that XYZ person has a video of them doing XYZ thing, then he should already be arrested. Having the name isn't going to help us. And these people are just putting this stuff out there without context. And here's another thing. With today's AI, which some of you guys have been, reticent about, how do you know you know? How do you know specifically what you're seeing is true? How do you know it hasn't been altered to say Fred Jones? I think we are creating right now an entire generation, a species of conspiracy-addled nut jobs. And I think it is mostly happening on the right. That's the part that drives me crazy. Most of this insanity is being done by people who are supposedly on our team. They're opportunistic grifters, and they're not helping whatsoever. They're making it like Trump and Bondi and Kash Patel are Keystone cops and don't have any idea what they're doing, and the left is laughing. See, I told you, they're hiding. They're pedo protectors. In reality, from what I've seen the last couple of weeks and underscored this weekend, I don't think Trump's approval rating has gone down even this much. Because people love their lives, and it's not that we're looking the other way from this Epstein stuff, but it doesn't have anything to do with what we do every single day. And if people cared that much, if they truly cared that much about Epstein, I don't see a large influx of people calling Tim Tebow and say, hey man, how do I sign up to work with you? I don't even see people heading to the sheriff's office in their local district and say, I want to volunteer to be a rescue person. Do you know every single day, wherever you live, there are women and children being rescued, and they need someone to take them from a safe spot to another safe spot? Anybody want to raise their hand? Did you sign up? Or are you looking at a 10-year-old email? I think today, if the election was today, Trump would probably do even better right now. I think people are lying to you. I don't know why, but I think that's true. I think the motives that we're seeing are solely based on getting set up for 2026 and 2028. Everybody knows, well, we think Trump's not going to be able to run in 2026 or 2028. And so you're going to see some juxtaposing happening right now where some of these people are going to look to launch their presidential campaigns. If President Trump doesn't run, somebody, I don't know, DeSantis, Marco, J.D. Vance, there's going to be a whole lot of people who are going to be jockeying for a position. And there's going to be a whole lot of people on X who are looking to see which horse they're going to go behind. And so the last thing that this person would want is to praise Trump so much and then say, you know what, I'm going to be on this guy's camp. Watch. You will see them jump very quickly. There's no ongoing. See, I don't even know if I'll have this channel. Once Trump's out of office, I don't know who I would back and if I'd want to continue doing this. I'm doing it because of President Trump. But you watch some of these people, you watch the shift, and this person's going to go here and this person's going to go there. And then they'll stop talking about Epstein. And then you're going to realize, wow, this was all a ruse? Yup. I want you to just tell yourself right now, more than likely, unless there's pictures and video, that they can verify, almost all these people are going to walk. They all got money. They all have the best attorneys. They may have some social shame, but these people have no shame. They don't care. You know why? Because their culture doesn't matter. Their culture, you don't see anybody on the left pointing at Reid Hoffman. You don't see anybody on the left talking about Obama's attorney. Nope, they don't care. That's just us. It's just us throwing barbs at each other. The one thing that I care about the most in this regard is to make sure that we win 2026 and 2028. If we don't, I don't even know what we're talking about. I wonder if a lot of people understand how desperate the anti-Trump forces must be to sacrifice the top level of control over parts of MAGA. And you know the names: Massey, Bannon, MTG, Nancy Mace. They're all looking to die on the hill of these Epstein files. Why? Why would you be doing some sort of self-sacrifice? Doesn't help you at all. This is to stop Trump. And that's what the most important thing I think people need to take away from here is that they're doing this to stop Trump. It is an anti-Trump blitzkrieg. Do whatever we need to do. We can't have his influence on 2026 and 2028, even if it means the Democrats get back in control. Because there's no way people would be doing this if they understood. You understand what could happen. So that should tell people like Fox and everybody, do something. And I'm not talking about Epstein. Get your acts together and get behind, if it's not Trump, at least our culture, our way of life. If Trump wins, when I say Trump wins, if MAGA wins the midterms, it's over for these people. Understand, they've pushed all their chips into a big pile. They won't be able to come back from 2028, and you shouldn't let them. You're seeing it right now in February of 2026. President Trump has secured the border. Deportations are going on. There's anti-fraud efforts. DEI is over. The tariffs, as of right now, are working. Trade deals, I'm going to show you what he just did. They can't be rolled back in any way, shape, or form anytime soon from stop them from taking effect. Why aren't we clapping? And then there is the census count that they lose control over and the sea change that will cause power in D.C. to flip, not for this election, forever. And then you got the Save America Act, which probably should be everything everyone's focus is on right now, because if we win that, then our culture is sustained. That's why these people, these panicans, these black pillars, these doomsayers, 2026 is their final stand. They're done. They've gone all in. They've tried to brainwash you and say Trump sucks and Pam Bondi needs to be fired and Kash Patel needs to go away. All of them go, Pam Bondi, I don't think she'll last a weekend. All that last weekend. You know, people always say this is the most important election in your lifetime. This one, I think, is. I think 2026 will be the most important election in the last 10 years. We have to rid ourselves not just of the Democrats and the socialists and the communists. We need to get rid of these Trump losers, too. They're hurting us. They're hurting you. You may not realize. You may think that, oh, they're putting out some good stuff. They're doing everything they can. No, they're not. They're hurting you. They're taking you away from your focus. Everything I mentioned, the borders, the deportations, the tariffs, the tax refunds, MAHA, all these things that I could literally go down, and they're spending 90 posts a day on Epstein. That should be enough to tell you what's going on right there. All right, so Mark Beckman will be up at 2:30. I'm going to jump into some video as soon as I get back here.
back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Hey, everybody. So I mentioned something President Trump put up over the weekend, and I wanted to show it to you. It was this. This was pretty important. The Board of Peace has unlimited potential. Last October, I released a plan for the permanent end to the conflict in Gaza, and our vision was unanimously adopted by the United Nations Security Council. Shortly thereafter, we facilitated humanitarian aid at record speed, and we secured the release of every living and deceased hostage. Just like that's kind of a big thing that he did there. Nobody's talking about it. Just last month, 24 distinguished founding members joined me in Davos to celebrate its official formation and present a bold vision for the civilians in Gaza and then ultimately, by far beyond Gaza, world peace. That's a good objective. On February 19th, a couple days from now, I will be joined by Board of Peace members at the Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace in Washington, D.C., where we will announce the member states have pledged more than $5 billion towards the Gaza humanitarian and reconstruction efforts and have committed thousands of personnel to the International Stabilization Force and local police to maintain security and peace for Gazans. Very importantly, Hamas must uphold its commitment to full and immediate demilitarization. The Board of Peace will prove to be the most consequential international body in history, and it is my honor to serve as its chairman. So President Trump is working to not just get peace in Gaza, but build basically mega Gaza. He's secured $5 billion so far in commitments to do that. And I hear crickets. I don't hear anybody talking about it. I don't hear anybody heralding it. I don't see anybody sharing it. You can ask yourself, did you hear about that? Did you hear that $5 billion was being, committed from the... I don't get it. The Board of Peace is something that we all would want. We'd want to see peace. We'd want to see these people, hopefully live a better life. And we're not having to pay for it. But nobody's talking about that. And so I found it interesting that Marco Rubio did his speech. I got a couple of his clips, and I just want to put them together so you guys can see them as well, because what happened over there was nothing short of amazing. Take a look.
National security, which this conference is largely about, is not merely a series of technical questions. How much we spend on defense or where, how we deploy it, these are important questions. They are. But they are not the fundamental one. The fundamental question we must answer at the outset is, what exactly are we defending? Because armies do not fight for abstractions. Armies fight for a people. Armies fight for a nation. Armies fight for a way of life.
Armies fight for culture. Exactly what Rush Limbaugh was saying. You fight for culture. You fight to uphold a certain way of life. And our people here, they're not fighting for that. They're not fighting to uphold a certain way of life.
And that is what we are defending. A great civilization that has every reason to be proud of its history. Together, we can reindustrialize our economies and rebuild our capacity to defend our people. But the work of this new alliance should not be focused just on military cooperation and reclaiming the industries of the past. It should also be focused on together advancing our mutual interests in new frontiers, unshackling our ingenuity, our creativity, and the dynamic spirit to build a new Western century. Commercial space travel and cutting-edge artificial intelligence, industrial automation and flex manufacturing, creating a Western supply chain for critical minerals not vulnerable to extortion from other powers, and a unified effort to compete for market share in the economies of the global South. Together, we can not only take back control of our own industries and supply chains, we can prosper in the areas that will define the 21st century.
Those are our ideals. To secure things, he talked about the Western Hemisphere, our civilization, our way of life. Those are the things that we're fighting for. Those are the things that tell us how we're going to go through the next 250 years. But we know what the Democrats want. They want to destroy that. They don't want any parts of this. And so it becomes interesting is because there's too many people on the so-called right who aren't supporting this either.
Centuries before the end of the Second World War, the West had been expanding. Its missionaries, its pilgrims, its soldiers, its explorers pouring out from its shores to cross oceans, settle new continents, build vast empires extending out across the globe. But in 1945, for the first time since the age of Columbus, it was contracting. Europe was in ruins. Half of it lived behind an iron curtain, and the rest looked like it would soon follow. The great Western empires had entered into terminal decline, accelerated by godless communist revolutions and by anti-colonial uprisings that would transform the world and drape the red hammer and sickle across vast swaths of the map in the years to come. Against that backdrop, then as now, many came to believe that the West's age of dominance had come to an end, and that our future was destined to be a faint and feeble echo of our past. But together, our predecessors recognized that decline was a choice, and it was a choice they refused to make. This is what we did together once before, and this is what President Trump and the United States want to do again now, together with you. And this is why we do not want our allies to be weak, because that makes us weaker. We want allies who can defend themselves so that no adversary will ever be tempted to test our collective strength. This is why we do not want our allies to be shackled by guilt and shame. We want allies who are proud of their culture and of their heritage, who understand that we are heirs to the same great and noble civilization, and who together with us are willing and able to defend it. And this is why we do not want allies to rationalize the broken status quo rather than reckon with what is necessary to fix it. For we in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers of the West's managed decline.
Ouch. We want people who want what we want, is pretty much what he said. And if you guys want to go hang your head in shame, you ain't ready for what we're about to do. If you want to start talking all this DEI and transformer and mass migration crap, no, that ain't going to happen. We're America. We have our own culture. Despite what some of you in the audience think, we are not doing that. And we don't want any weak, limp-wristed idiots trying to tell us how we need to live our life, which is pretty much the same speech he needs to be given to people here in America. We don't need that kind of self-own where people on our side are responsible for decline of our culture. And again, I'll say it again, I'm not looking the other way from that Epstein stuff, but in terms of importance, what's more important is to make sure we are a strong country with strong values and strong culture who understands we need to stop the stuff with kids now. None of us can pull the calendar back and go back to 2018 or 2019. But one of the things I kept telling you guys last week is, it's still happening. I don't want law enforcement to divert themselves away from the kids who right now are in trouble. I didn't see anybody in the panicans or doomsayers talking about how Tom Homan has found 145,000 kids today. Not the ones who got damaged back in 2018. We don't know who they are. We're finding kids today. Our culture is, we're coming, we're here, we're going to help you. We are survivors. We are going to win. We're not going to just lament on what has happened. We can't go back and fight wars, but we can definitely defend the kids today. Why is that not of importance? Why are we not supporting our culture? Why are we not heralding wins? Why are we not focused completely on saving the people we can save today? Because these pervs, they're still doing it. They didn't stop because Epstein's not around. They're still doing it. They have a proclivity for this stuff. Is nobody working to stop the victims of today? Then you have to ask yourself, why not? I don't see any of them. None of them saying, hey, let's get together and help these 145,000 kids. Let's help find out where these, you want to hear some stuff? I'm going to play for you tonight some of the stuff from Tim Tebow. It'll curl your hair. And we're talking about stuff today. Tim Tebow is going to describe something that he found. And when you hear it, you may never listen, follow, or even engage in a tweet with some of the black pillars, because they should be ashamed. They should be having, if he would do it, I would have Tim Tebow on at least once a week. But in any event, they don't want to do that. All right, so Mark Beckman is supposed to be coming on, so I'm timing this right. Let me segue from that. Let me begin talking about Mark Beckman. Let me get my times down so I know where to go back when he's done. All right, so Mark Beckman, who we've had on the show before, we had him on, I don't know, some time ago, maybe a year ago, and we talked about AI. Little did I know that he was going to end up being one of Melania's biggest advisors, and also one of the producers of the Melania movie. So I want to play something. He did an interview with her, and then he went on Fox. I want you guys to hear that, and by the time this is done, he should be in the green room here. All right, so check this out.
The freedom that the Constitution provides for you, Melania Trump, but in a way, you're not free. This is like on a personal level, like you're not free to do things that I could do, right? Like you're not going to go jump in the ocean for a swim or go over to, Fifth Avenue to go shopping, or just, after we speak, go over to MoMA and look at the new Shut exhibition. So is it this weird tension now in your life personally where you have the freedom, but you really don't, because it would be too chaotic with the Secret Service and everything else. What's that like?
It comes with the job, it comes with the position, and you get used to it. And you know that, as my detail always says to me, you could do whatever you like, we will take care of it, and you just tell me where you want to go. But it's a little bit different than, in the past life, you just sneak out and go unnoticed, and you could just go in the museum and just be in your own peace by yourself. And it's a different life, but you're getting used to it. And
do you ever long for it? Do you ever long for just being like, I just want to fall into New York City? Like, I think John Lennon walked around New York City and he loved it because people would leave him alone. Do you wish that could happen with you? I mean, it couldn't happen with you.
No, it cannot happen anymore.
Do you ever long for it though? Do you want that?
Yeah, you have sometimes moments and you feel like, it would be great just to go out and, especially on a beautiful day and stuff. But it's not possible, and that's okay. That's okay.
Exclusive senior advisor to First Lady Melania Trump, Mark Beckman, served as a producer on this film, and he joins us now after appearing at last night's premiere. Hey, Mark.
Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning.
How are you?
Doing well. How was last night, and what did you hear? What was the reaction from people in the audience that saw it for the first time?
I'm so happy you asked that question. Last night was magnificent. The room was filled with so much warmth, but the overall sentiment was that people were inspired. They never thought that the First Lady was this type of a person, so committed to her family, so devoted to her business, so committed to the country and becoming First Lady of the United States of America again. So it was a wonderful reception. It was a beautiful, beautiful evening. But to me, the most heartwarming sentiment is the fact that everybody embraced our First Lady and gave her, for the first time, I never saw so many people talk about how wonderful she is, how devoted she is to the country, her business, and her family. Incredible experience.
You know, Mark, what I love about this is there's media bias. She was a fashion model. She's now an icon. She's the first lady of the United States, and some of the biggest magazines don't put her on the cover. So when her book came out, it was her way of telling her side of the story. We got an inside look on who she really was, and we heard it in her voice, and it became a New York Times bestseller. And now the movie is out, so we see what it's all like behind the scenes. Why did she decide to do this?
Ainsley, it's interesting. You talk about the fashion component. I have to address it. This woman is so above these magazines, Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, Elle, W. Forget it. You could put them all together. She's so iconic. She's doing important things. She's rescuing children with Ukraine, with regards to Ukraine and Russia. She's putting together the Take It Down Act, protecting American children. Our First Lady is so above it. It's great that she's an iconic fashion person. She's the most iconic First Lady ever before in history, but she's already above all of these publications. We have to, as people, stop thinking about, worrying about whether or not she's on the cover of Vogue magazine. They don't deserve her. She's way above it. And now is the perfect time in this film to see her iconic looks, her natural, it's just her everyday life, her natural presentation. And honestly, it should inspire a movement across America to take care of yourself, to be proud about the way you look. Men and women together, dress beautifully and feel good about yourself.
Mark, why did she decide to do it?
She put this movie together because it was the perfect time to tell a story that has never been told before. This story, it's unprecedented, it's groundbreaking. We never had access to this type of a film. It's truly historic and it's important for our country.
Okay, Mark, Rachel Compost-Duffy sat down with her and asked her if being First Lady has changed her. Watch this.
How has being First Lady changed you?
I don't think it's changed me. I'm still me. And I think it's very important that you're true to yourself. I know that I'm in control only of myself, nobody else, not my husband, not my son, not anybody else. My action speaks, and I'm very selective what I do when I talk, and that is all me.
Mark, do you agree with that? You've known her for how many decades now?
I've been working with her for over 2 decades, since before Barron was born, and she has her own foundation. She drives her own mission. She has her own set of values and standards, and she lives by that code. She's an incredible person.
Indeed. He's not here as of yet, so he might be a little bit late. So while we're doing that, let me just go ahead and get this in from Chapter, and we'll wait to see. Just got it open. All right. Medicare is confusing. As someone who recently turned 65 myself, I can confirm this. Keeping track of enrollment periods, understanding all your options, and making sure you're on the right plan takes too much time and energy. And in between Medicare scams, corrupt agents, and bloated insurance companies, it's easy to make mistakes that can cost you thousands. That's why I'm happy I called people at Chapter. They're actually honest, and they're the only Medicare advisor that looks at every plan nationwide, helping people save an average of $1,100 per year. People are relieved when they talk to Chapter. In fact, we've had people here in the chat who said, yeah, they actually have saved them money, which I love hearing that kind of response from you guys. These guys won't push you to buy a plan you don't want, and their support is completely free. One free 20-minute phone call is all that it's going to take. So if you're turning 65 soon or have questions about your Medicare coverage, call them at 475-328-3545 to get the most out of Medicare. Most people, as I said earlier, wish they had called them sooner. So you can go to askchapter.org/Barry, or you can give them a call, 475-328-3545. And I just want to say, I know a lot of people call and they're extremely busy because right now it's open enrollment period and a lot of people are changing, but they will be there to help you as soon as possible. So Mark is not, he's not in here yet. Good time for me to take a quick break.
back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so Mark is here. We're doing this live, so I'm going to have to cut over and hope the microphone and everything is working well. Mark, can you hear me?
Oh, hi. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Oh, perfect. Very perfect. Got you good. So we just spent some time, and
Sorry.
we had you here a year ago or so, and we were talking about AI, and you never mentioned to me that you were one of Melania's advisors. And then we see the movie, and I'm like, oh, is that the same Mark Beckman? How did that happen? How did you get involved with Melania?
Uh, Barry, Melania and I have been working together for about 25 years. Yeah, she and I have a very close relationship, but for obvious reasons, we've kept things quiet.
Yeah.
So we just like to build behind the scenes. So in that capacity as her senior advisor, what I do is I essentially handle all of her branding at the foundational level, and then I stand up her commercial transactions, whether it's the book or the movie, her philanthropy, her communications. Like, it's all very strategic, and it starts with her, of course.
So whose idea for the cineplay, the actual script, and how who put that together?
That's Melania Trump's idea. She came
Wow.
up with the idea. She called me. It's something, honestly, Barry, we've been talking about, she and me, for a very long time. As you can imagine, it's not easy to get a film together as a former first lady if your name isn't Hillary or Michelle. So we've been talking about it for a while. She's a very visual person, and probably would have preferred to have put the film out before the book.
Yeah.
But I think we did it at the end the right way. The book went to New York Times best-selling book for 13 weeks, and then the film, as you know, went to #1 highest opening in history of over the past 14 years for a documentary. So she's very visual. We went out. She had the idea, and she said, "Mark, go sell it." And I went out and cut this record-breaking deal for her.
Wow. Fantastic. I don't want to do any spoiler alerts for people who haven't seen it, but I went with my wife, and we went to like a theater where you can order food, and the credits are rolling and everything. And I've got my head down looking at the menu. And what struck me was the opening score. And for those of you, this isn't too much of a spoiler alert, but the opening song that starts is it Gimme Shelter from the Stones, right?
You got it. Yeah, you got
And
it. I remember you and I connected because we have similar tastes. Yeah.
yeah,
I was.
and I looked,
Barry, that we got the Stones.
Mark. I'm looking down. And I go, is this a new movie they're giving a trailer? This is the movie, and boom, I was as a guy, I was hooked. Because I was like, okay, this is a little bit different. I was expecting documentary type thing, and it blew me away.
Rocks. Yeah, our First Lady rocks. I mean, the music that we put together for the film, Barry, it was no easy task, as you can imagine, but it's the best of the best. The soundtrack is killer. It's the Stones, Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
We go old school with like Elvis and the Shirelles. And you might have noticed we even created our own score it's called Melania's Waltz, and those key moments when she walks in. So we really put a lot of effort into creating a music package that the First Lady's proud of. And to be very clear, it's interesting. You asked me whose idea was the film. The music she was involved too. Every single song in that film, from Everybody Wants to Rule the World, from Fears all the way through Michael Jackson, every song was selected by the First Lady.
It was amazing, because I'm thinking also, you got Hollywood productions usually take months. You guys put all this together and filmed it and everything in like 20 days. In terms of that's what it was, her first 20 days.
Yeah, thank you for acknowledging that. It was a Herculean task, my first film ever in my life. And I went from cutting the deal on behalf of the First Lady to securing a director. He went and put together an all-star team. I hope you saw the video quality was incredible. I mean, this is really groundbreaking for the way a documentary is told. Never did we have the First Lady sitting there, as a talking head, looking into the camera, a warehouse, empty, vacant warehouse behind her. We never did that. But it took us, we were a sprint. I got the deal done, and then we had to get this all executed and done on the day of the inauguration.
It must have been a security nightmare. How did you, when people go see it, they're going to see access points that you would never think you would have for a president or a First Lady. And excuse me, and you guys have you're on the airplane, you're in the limo, you're driving in different cities, and how did you get that kind of? How did the Secret Service sit back and go, okay, we're going to be able to do all this kind of stuff and give them access?
Barry, the United States Secret Service, they are incredible. They are so talented, but at the same time, they were so just incredible to work with. They knew how to do everything here. This wasn't a situation where we could have a second take or a third take. We had to be right where we were, walking into the rotunda for the inauguration, or going onto Air Force One, or these secure, never before seen locations like the Blair House. We only had one shot, and Secret Service was like, "Look, guys, our job is to protect the First Lady and the First Family, the incoming president, and of course we respect that." And we made it work. Those guys were incredible. They play a big role in the film, as you saw, and they've become close. I love those guys. I mean, they're incredible. They really serve our country in a way that people don't realize. Very important people.
I think one of the things that you guys did and must have credit for. I don't know if that was whoever was like throwing the questions at her, but you were able to see her vulnerability. B, you were able to see her in a different light. She just wasn't the person on stage. She was a mom, a wife, a fashion mogul. How did you get her to relax?
Well, this is her. I mean, what you saw is really who she is. She authored this, right? So her idea was to open the window a little bit more into parts of her life where she's been very selective. So think in terms of her family, her career, her philanthropy. And then she felt like it was great to give Americans and the rest of the world an understanding as to like how hard it is to move back into DC with your family and to, create the office of First Lady, get your agenda together. So she opened that window for everyone. So it was easy to get that because she was just herself.
The level of detail she had, obviously being in fashion for a long time, you understand the level of detail there. The level of detail she had with planning the events and things of that nature, that was, I mean, we know she had a fashion background. Did she have an event planning background? How did she know how to, I mean, I don't want to give away the movie, but when you see the level of detail, even the colors that she picked out, how did how did she do that?
Yeah, she's an incredible human being. Like I said, I've been working with her for almost 25 years. She's one of the most driven, motivated individuals I've ever met. She outworks the president. She works 24/7. I haven't had a day off, weekends, holidays, and it's a pleasure because we're doing the best work we do. So when it comes to the types of issues that you're talking about, this is all very important to her, whether it's the United States presidential inauguration or the Easter egg roll or the Christmas decorations, because she knows that she's putting our country on the stage to the world. And she's very proud as an American, very proud as a First Lady, and she wants us to retain our level of significance and luxury at the highest level in the world. So every single detail for all of these issues, even the state dinner recently with Saudi Arabia, every invite, every tablecloth, every menu decision, the candles, everything goes through our First Lady. She's a machine. The East Wing supports her in an incredible way, but she drives that creative vision for every single detail, whether it's for kids to enjoy the Easter egg roll or for leaders. I know that the United Kingdom is coming to our nation soon, and she's got to make sure that that America looks great to the King of England, and she's proud to do that.
She I don't want to give away the fashion stuff because that blew me away because I'm a complete novice. My wife used to do some modeling back in the day, and I go, is it really like that? Do most models have the command of the person designing, or is that because that's Melania and she knows I need this an inch different here or an inch different there? And that really caught my eye as someone who was completely oblivious. I'm like, she had that much, not that much to know. I need this gown done this way and everything else. Is that just from her background, or do most models have that?
Yeah, so definitely this is unique to Melania Trump. And as you know, Barry, the relationship with her mother, who passed away, is probably one of the most poignant parts of the film. And it was her mother who was trained in fashion. She was a designer and passed these skills along to Melania Trump.
Wow.
And everybody always wants to know, how did this come about? Who decided, to put this on her as it relates to fashion? But ultimately, every decision is hers. And to your point, she gets involved in the design, the engineering, the creative direction of all of it. And we wanted to showcase that for the American public. But this ties back to her relationship with her mom. It's her mom who, with strong ties and an understanding to fashion design, who ultimately got her in the fashion industry, started her modeling career, and Melania carries those skills with her.
When when we watch President Trump at his rallies, and he does the dance and everything, we never see her do it. And even their last event last week, he jumped into it, and she was very staid and just walked off stage. And I was completely blown away that you got a shot of her walking down the stairs after the inauguration, and she did her own style. I mean, that is something.
I owe her a lot for that, Barry.
Yeah.
I had to bribe her on that one.
All right, so you guys got to go see that part. And the other part was when she's walking into, I think, the inauguration. Yes, and she turns around. Here we go again. Was that her, or is it ad-libbed, or was that part of it too?
So I'll tell you something cool. So Barry, one of the best nights of my career was the Thursday night before we launched the film. The film launched on Friday the 30th. So Thursday the 29th, we had a film premiere at the Kennedy Center, and I sat next to President Trump. And President Trump, he was really great that night. He kept hitting me, Mark, how did you get the stones? How did you do this? How did you do that? Loved it. But when he heard the line you're talking about, here we go again, he goes, Mark, that's one of the top 5 lines in history of films. That's up there with The Godfather, with The Sopranos. He goes on and on and on. And it was incredible. And he's right. I mean, that line is iconic. If anybody in your audience hasn't seen the film yet, it's worth going to the theaters now just to catch that moment. And that's all Melania Trump. She was clever. She knew how to break that border between the filmmaking, like a documentary, and she went right to her fans at that moment. And it has like a double meaning, right? Like, here we go again as she walks into the inauguration for her husband and for her to become president and first lady again. But everything else that comes with that line is so iconic.
I love that. I loved also the vulnerability of a mom when she was talking about how Barron was a little concerned about doing the parade, and he didn't want to get out of the car, and that's something we never see. We just assume that everything is perfect, and I don't know how Barron felt about it, but she showed her that was a whole different side. First lady wife, that was mom. That was the mama bear at this point saying, "I'm protecting my son." And I love that too. Was that just something that just go ahead?
I was going to say, it's an interesting moment that you're highlighting, Barry. I'm sorry to talk over you. I apologize.
No.
But it's interesting because, like I said, it's unprecedented access to meetings and people, places, and beyond. And in that meeting, you might have seen, that's the United States Secret Service sitting down with the incoming president and first lady right after 2 assassination attempts.
Right.
So at that point in time, you might be aware, like, Iran was very vocal about wanting to kill President Trump. So there was a lot going on. So we were able to go in and run the cameras. That was a real meeting. I think you might have caught at some point. They were like, we have to turn the cameras off for this typical. There was one part that was super sensitive. But it was an incredible meeting. And it shows this delicate balance between let's do what's tradition for the nation, but also let's not get hurt.
Yeah. The outfit. What's the story behind it? Because we all saw it, and it looked like a New York 5 family type thing where she was sending a message. Was there a certain message that you can speak of in regards to that outfit?
Well, I'll tell your audience, like, you have to go see the film.
Yeah.
And then for your sake, Barry, let's just say that she's a very thoughtful person. You might have visited the Pope. She deliberately wore an Italian designer.
Yeah.
When she had the French come for the first state dinner during 45, she was very deliberate with her outfit. When she visited, at the time, the former Prime Minister of Japan, who's since passed away, Prime Minister Abe, and his wife, who she's still very close with. Mrs. Abe joined us at the inauguration, actually. She was also very respectful.
she does everything for a reason, down to the detail. As you said, at the Saudi state dinner, the tablecloths were in that Saudi green out of respect for the Crown Prince. And I think that there are a lot of double meanings in the film. Music, you might have seen the garbage being taken out and beyond. And I think it's, your audience has to get in. You got to like pull these parts, you got to take them apart. I've had a lot of friends who've said to me like, wow, I had to watch the film too. They went back to the theater 2 or 3 times because the voiceover then sends more messages.
Yeah.
The song selection sends more messages. And I think on the clothing piece of it, that's a key moment as well.
I mean, and when she was driving, I don't want to give it away, but there's a point where she gets into somebody asked her about Michael Jackson, which song she likes better. She starts singing it. I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell you guys a song. You need to go see the movie. But it's so cool. It was just something you definitely wouldn't see Hillary. You wouldn't see any other first lady even have that kind of vibe that she had. So I just thought that was very cool. So the movie's obviously done extremely well. Where's the next step with it? Are you guys going to release it on one of the big things like Netflix or something, or is it going to keep running for a while?
Yeah, so we're in theaters exclusively, and there's a reason. This is the First Lady's idea too, Barry. She wanted to create something visually that's stunning, sonically that's gorgeous, and it's really made for this immersive experience. We realize Americans stopped going to the theaters after COVID, but we feel like we could bring people back in. Like, I appreciate that you and your wife went, and I hope that you would align with what we tried to build.
Oh, yeah.
A very sonic and visual rich cinematic type of experience. But that's the plan. In the mid summer range or so, we haven't locked in a date yet. We'll have a docu-series that we're launching. And the docu-series is also filmed during that 20-day period, but it allows for us to tell some of these stories with greater detail. Like, there's not enough time in the film to talk heavily about her family life, her career, her philanthropy. So that's going to be the difference. It stands on its own, that series. It's going to be totally different than the movie, and we'll be launching that in the summertime.
Wow. And I will tell every guy, excuse me, it's not a chick flick, because I thought it was. I'm going to go with my wife, and I'll just, she's going to enjoy it. But from the first initial scene, you realize this isn't like something you expect. Mark, with everything that you're doing with Melania and the movies, what about yourself? I mean, last time we talked, about AI. Are you involved with her initiatives in AI as well, or are you guys basically on hiatus as you're doing all this stuff?
No, for sure. She and I work very strategically. I was the person behind her audiobook. My agency created the AI audiobook in English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Hindi. And you might see some of the work she's doing. Just a few weeks ago, we had 2,000 American schools participate in a 1-hour AI workshop, which I'm very proud of. The AI Presidential Challenge that Melania is at the center of, I'm very proud to share that we have participants now from all 50 states, plus Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico. And we'll continue to grow on the AI front internationally now. So next month, at the end of the month, on March 24th and March 25th, we're going to activate Fostering the Future Together, which is this global coalition that Melania Trump, the First Lady, announced from the United Nations General Assembly, where she's bringing leaders from different nations, almost 100 nations, to the White House for the inaugural meeting. And they're going to look at this intersection of AI and education for children around the globe. So we're doing, honestly, Barry, I'll tell you, I'm doing the best work of my life, and I'm very grateful that the First Lady gives me this opportunity.
Wow. So last question for you. In watching President Trump in the movie and since the movie comment on this a couple times, any plans to do something with him?
No. President Trump has to keep on doing great for the country. He's not I know he's like the ultimate entertainer, and I think he probably, I wonder if you agree. Actually, I'm curious what you think. I mean, there were moments in the film where he was classic. I mean, his star shines so bright. You got to go see it.
That's why I brought it up, because it just came natural to him. And I'm like, it seems like he would eat it up, if he saw himself on he was in Home Alone, but yeah, it comes natural to him.
For sure. I mean, did you see that moment in the movie where he was talking about, like, why is the national championship on my inauguration? I mean, it's incredible, incredible. But you know, for me right now, my focus is on the First Lady. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I focus on her commerce, her philanthropy, her communications, and you know, where she's doing great. The achievements that she has so far in the first year, I'm very proud of. I'm honored to be a part of it. Whether it's new legislation with the Take It Down Act or the new foster care executive order that we're pushing for new legislation, all of my focus is on the First Lady.
Oh, fantastic. I'll tell you my favorite part, maybe it's because I'm married, but watching them do the dance and the perspective that you guys gave by the zoom in is something you didn't see when it happened on, inauguration night. You really got to see their interaction, and it was a special moment. I think everybody needs to see that. So go see the doggone movie.
What about Barry? What about I'm sorry, I got to ask you one question. Did you enjoy, we brought, I know you saw it. Like we went into their residence in the White House.
Mark, I wasn't going to say it because I'm like, people haven't seen it, but you brought it up. That was just so genuine. You just walked into the, and people should know. Now that you brought it up, I'm going to ask you. There's a point in the movie after it, and she takes off her high heels because her feet are hurt, and then she goes in.
24 hours, yeah.
And she goes in, he grabs a Diet Coke. Was he going back to work?
He doesn't stop. I could tell you, I've known these people. I've been working, Barry, you asked me at the beginning of our interview. I've been working with her for almost 25 years. Wow. And the two of them are the hardest working people. They care so much. And you saw him in the movie. He's like, when are we going to get back to work? Yeah. When are we going to make America great again? And it's heartfelt. I had the honor of talking to him on the phone a few nights ago. And we had a lengthy conversation about all of these achievements and what he's building out for the country. And, he's the most committed person that I know. It's incredible. The two of them are really great people.
Oh, loved it. Well, you did a fantastic job. I loved it. My wife loved it. We've urged as many people. And when Ashley, let me tell you how this interview came up. I'm literally watching something and it says Mark Beckman, producer. And I'm like, is that the same? That can't be. And I'm like, you got to get them on because we could talk about the movie and get people to go see it. So I hope we get more people to go see it. I hope people, follow you and hit you up because you did a fantastic job. The most cinematic, the music went with it. I mean, it was perfect. I wouldn't have said you should have done this or done that. Everything worked very well. And the only thing that bothered me was too short. We didn't want to leave.
Mike Tyson said that to me. Mike Tyson came to the premiere and he's like, Mark, the pace was incredible. You should have put another hour into it. I was like, okay, champ, let's calm down a little bit. So I get, Barry, it's cool that you and I are like at this intersection of commerce and politics, sports and all. Like, you get it. It's incredible.
Yeah, I could have watched them. I mean, because I know you had a ton more. That's what you need to come out with, like the behind the scenes thing. I mean, that would be like really perfect too if the Secret Service would let you. But Mark, thank you very much for coming on and also for producing a movie that it was amazing. I loved it. Thank you very much.
So grateful that you give me the chance to participate. Thank you so much, Barry.
All right, have a great day. Great day.
All right.
And tell Melania to come on the show.
You got it.
All right. We'll talk to you guys in a second.
back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed that, but more importantly, I hope you go see the movie if you haven't seen it. I see this comment here. It says, I was never into chick flicks, so I'm happy to know this doc isn't that kind of film. Anything but. What's really interesting, as I mentioned to Mark, I was literally looking at the menu and I thought it was still more coming attractions. I didn't know the movie had started. And I hear the Stones, the iconic, ooh, if you know the beginning of Gimme Shelter. And I just looked up and went, oh, this is a different kind of movie. Let me go ahead and put my order in quick so I can get yeah, the storm is breaking. Oh, it was phenomenal. And it's worth it to go see it. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to be a commercial about it. I just want you guys to know it was a very, very good movie. And that's from a guy's perspective. Wife loved it. Wife loved it. She could have seen it twice. That was so much fun. Thank you. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, go ahead. And also, I forgot to tell you, I mean, not forgot to tell you, we're going to do it now that the website is pretty much done. We're going to give out tickets so people can go see the movie as well. So I'm going to incorporate that probably by Wednesday into the show where you can go in and sign up for tickets and we'll do some sort of trivia or something. You'll see some of the moments we just spoke about. I couldn't tell you too much because I didn't want to ruin it for you. But that moment, you probably see it in the trailers where she looks like a mafioso and she just turns to the side and goes, here we go again. I'm like, yeah, okay. Let's do it. Let's do it. And there's some real soft moments that, like I mentioned, about just being a mom and talking to the Secret Service about, they're trying to kill my husband and my son's kind of weirded out. But I mean, just so much. I don't know how they did it in like that short a period of time. I didn't know Mike Tyson had said the same thing. Man, this could have been a lot longer. I could have just sat there. All right. So if you guys have somebody goes, yeah, the music was amazing. Her singing as well. So let's get on with somebody says, I'm not good at trivia. Charades are I'm very good at. It won't be hard. It won't be hard trivia. Don't worry about it. So we left off talking about Marco before the interview. That almost timed up right about. I only had like a minute or so I had to burn before he got on, but I'm glad he was able to get on. All right, let's get going.
The other side does the mean, angry,
demagoguery,
exclusive, us, them.
Seriously? The other side does that. See, what you're seeing and what you're about to see here in the next couple of clips is the Democrat Party realizing nobody wants what they're selling. Nobody wants, realistically, what you are offering, because you're not offering anything that the American people want. And so what they're being forced to do at this point is come towards the center to lie to people. With Hillary saying she was against immigration and they want to move towards the center, but they can't. They can't do it if you guys realize what's happening. And if the Panicans and the Black Pillars stop with their crap, they're giving them the opportunity to try and deflect.
Divisive politics. That's their home court.
Yeah.
Our court is coming together.
Man, you can hear these people talk like this and you realize there's something really wrong. And the thing that's really wrong is that, again, I mention it quite often, contrast. And the contrast is, if you really thought you were winning, if you really thought the Republicans and MAGA were bad, you wouldn't have to capitulate. You wouldn't have to tie yourself into some sort of gymnastic twister. It must have hurt him to have these words come out of his mouth. The rest of this stuff I'm going to show you, you have to realize as they're saying this, they're like, I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe I'm having to say this, because it shows you're not winning. Winners don't do this. This is loser speak.
Court is, look, a great example. Wasn't political. Bad Bunny's halftime show.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Well, it resonated. It was smart because it wasn't preaching. It was showing. It was demonstrating.
Oh, it definitely wasn't preaching. You are 100% right about that, Barack. It was nothing to do with preaching. It was far away from preaching as possible. But again, going back to the beginning of today's show, which the theme of the show was culture. That's what they want to insert, even with Jay-Z being involved. Oh, it was magnificent. No, it was shit. Everybody who watched it, who was American, who has culture, realized that's not where we want to take our country. You're having to rely on something like Bad Bunny to try and convince people that, we're the good guys.
Demonstrating and displaying. This is what a community is.
They need to be defeated each and every day.
That's why I'm saying it. I'm going to clip that. We need to work hard together to beat these people every single day. They're losing. They know they're losing. The only thing that's keeping them alive is people on our side. Imagine if people were just taking their time to point this stuff out and go, loser, loser, stomp them out. But no, you're fighting the one guy who can help us save our culture.
Trump's in retreat, and I think it's important people understand and shape the consciousness in this way. He's in retreat on Greenland. Tonally, you saw the retreat in terms of the tone and tenor that was expressed by the Secretary of State. He's in retreat in the United States of America. He's pulling the secret police, his masked men, ICE agents, 3,000 of them. He's taking them out of Minnesota. He is.
Again, we had panicans who were amplifying that message. We had people on our side saying, oh, Trump, he capitulated, he gave in, he caved to Minnesota. And as I was hearing them, I'm like, that message that you guys are saying, you people who are supposedly on the right, they're going to use that. And sure enough, he goes to Munich and he says exactly that. You are amplifying a Democrat message. You are amplifying a liberal message. Every time you keep saying this stuff, they're going to run with it because now they have substantiation. Yeah, even the people on the right believe that.
It's historically unpopular in the U.S. They're in a reset because economic conditions. He's underwater in every key category, including his number one issue, which was immigration. And now he's underwater in terms of public opinion polls on that. So he's increasingly weak, and he's shown to be weak. When people stand up to Trump,
Okay, so let me just say, having played sports and things of that nature, I never had to talk bad about my opponent. I did it on the field. In fact, our coaches used to say, don't give people reason to put things in the locker room. Don't let them know you they're getting to you. Does this sound like someone who's they believe they're winning? They're trying to convince people that Trump's off his game. He's losing it all over the place. Well, oh, by the way, because people on the right are saying it. Oh, you can't win. He's losing his game. He's losing support. No, he's not. The people on the right are telling these people this. And then he runs over to Germany and blah, 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 blah. We're giving them things to talk about. Notice they're not talking about the stuff, from the files, other than one name, Trump. They're not talking about Reid Hoffman. They're not talking about Clinton. They're not talking about anything. We'll just, let's just sit back and let these people on the right trash Trump. And then we'll just say what the people on the right are saying. That's all we got to do. It makes it easy. So keep doing. Oh, yeah, see, he's losing his support.
Fight back, fight fire with fire. He backs down. And I think he's been testing boundaries. It's what he does. Throws things out.
It gets in the basket and puts the lotion on. That's what he reminds me of.
And if people are too complicit, you sit back, say we don't take him seriously, he'll take whatever he wants. If he sees something he wants, he'll take it, unless people push back with clarity and conviction. This is happening within the United States, and it's obviously happening in real time around the globe, and I think people are figuring that out, and it couldn't come too soon.
They need to be defeated each and every day.
You are
Each and every day. You guys ready to fight? Let's fight, not each other. We need to fight these morons. It's insane. We are giving them ammunition. They're trying to take our culture, our way of life, and we are allowing them, not you, not me, the idiots on X, the idiots that many of you follow, are trying to give them the recipe to try and take down Trump and MAGA. They want you gone. People on the right want MAGA gone. You're a maggot. You're what do I see a lot? You're slop eaters. You people, we're different. We're over here talking about stuff that matters, and that means we're going to win. And you guys, who's we? What are you going to win? If Trump loses, if MAGA loses, if the Republican Party loses, how do you win? How do you survive? When their objective isn't to make nice with you, their objective is to destroy your culture.
Starting to see the ascent of the right, even in places like Munich. Marco Rubio's speech was a pure appeal to Western culture.
This one caught me. I was like, isn't it supposed to? I mean, he's the Secretary of State of the United States, which is in the Western Hemisphere. Was it not supposed to be to the Western culture? Why did she even do that? You mean the culture you live in? You mean the culture that you are an elected representative of? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that was a bad thing. But we can't have this Western culture.
My favorite part was when he said that American cowboys came from Spain.
I thought they came from Winnetou, but
I believe the Mexicans and descendants of African enslaved peoples would like to have a word.
African cowboys? Gotcha. Mexican cowboys? This woman is a blithering idiot. Why is she over there? She's embarrassing America. Embarrassing America. Does she not know? Never mind. She doesn't know where horses came from.
On that. But, I think it's also important to note how thin that foundation is. Culture is changing. Culture always changed. Culture.
It's we're on thin ice, people. We got to change the culture. It always changes. No. Culture doesn't always change. See, she's not understanding the word culture. By the way, why don't you go take a trip into, I don't know, Afghanistan, where they're still throwing rocks, and ask them, are they going to change their culture? And by the way, when you go there, don't wear anything over your head and wear something sexy. See how the culture changes? It always changes. Take a couple of your friends, your floozy friends, the ones who dress kind of weird, who aren't what they say they are, but, take Tina McBride. Take them over there. Let's see how the culture changed. Why is it only our culture that has to change? Why can't you take a couple of your friends that, are of the other affliction and say, hi, guys, you guys need to stop and let's change our culture over here. How come you don't do that? Why you want to bring people over here to change American culture, but I don't see you getting a bunch of the Transformers heading over to Afghanistan or some of these other countries and like, you boys got to change. It's sinister. It is poison. It's toxic. And she's trying to tell people that we're the bad ones. When every single one of those people I mentioned who transform or decide they're going to play on the same team or they can't go to those other countries. But you're not changing their culture. Tell them, Rush.
For the entire history of human civilization has been a fluid, evolving thing that is a response to the conditions that we live in. And so they want to take this mantle of culture. At the end of the day, though, it is very thin. And so the response that we have to have is, again, it's material, it's class-based, it's common interest. There was certainly more openness to what I was saying than probably there would be in years past. We can't underestimate the appeal of going back to these well-worn grooves. A lot of what we talk about when we talk about a class-based internationalist perspective also means ending.
Why do I give a shit about an internationalist perspective? You understand? You see where these people are? If you truly see where these people are, you realize we're winning. She's over there trying to get support for what they want to do to America because they can't do it here. They need you people over there to help us change the culture and be more internationalist. We can break America. It's thin. The culture is thin. Just need some help. That's not winning. That's begging. You're embarrassing yourself. You're saying you're Marco Rubio says we don't want to be involved with anybody who is not strong. And she's over there going, we need to be together as less strong as we possibly can so we can break American culture.
The hypocrisy towards the global South.
They need to be defeated each and every day.
In our legislation.
The hypocrisy of the global South. Wow. They're not winning. They know they're not winning. You have to believe at this point that you are winning. And you can see the contrast that's happening just by watching what these people are saying.
We say that ICE agents should not be anywhere near polling places. Again, I think most Americans agree. You talk to people at polling places who operate the polling places, they don't want these ICE agents near them and intimidating them.
Why would ICE be intimidating poll workers if the poll workers were only counting votes from Americans? If there were no newcomers at the polls, why would anybody feel intimidated about ICE being at what? Huh? I don't get it. It was like the other guy, John Larson from Connecticut. He said something stupid today. He said they don't want ICE agents at the Social Security agencies. People might feel intimidated. Who would feel intimidated by ICE agents at a Social Security office? Who would feel intimidated? What poll workers would feel intimidated by ICE agents at a polling outfit? Again, they're losing. They know they're losing, and the only thing that they have available to them is our complete insanity that people on the right. Even Jake Tapper calls them out.
About 83% of the American people, including majority Democrats, support voter ID laws.
83%, Chucky.
Well, yeah, the voter ID laws that, first, each state can have its own voter ID laws, and some do and some don't. But secondly, What they are proposing in this so-called SAVE Act is like Jim Crow 2.0. They make it so hard to get any kind of voter ID that more than 20 million legitimate people, mainly poorer people and people of color, will not be able to vote under this law. We will not let it pass in the Senate. We are fighting it tooth and nail. It's an outrageous proposal that is, that shows the sort of political bias of the MAGA right. They don't want poor people to vote. They don't want people of color to vote because they often don't vote for them.
They need to be defeated each and every day.
Each and every day. The insulting way that you say that black people can't get ID while you're talking to black people who are in office. You could probably go see Ayanna Presley, or you could probably go see Jasmine Crockett. As stupid as she is, somehow she found a way. Can you ask her how she got her ID? I can tell you how I got mine. I was 16, 50 years ago. Who are these people who can't get IDs? They're losing. They're begging. They're trying to find a way to steal and do different things by getting, we don't want people to have a voter ID. My daughter and the grandkids are flying home right now. Guess what? Had to show your ID all over the place. And then you get this.
Proposed is that we raise $10 billion to pay for our entire economic agenda and start to Trump-proof our city, because we know he'll...
I'm sorry. I didn't know when you ran for mayor, there was something called Trump-proofing New York City. So it's not about making New Yorkers' lives better. We need to Trump-proof it so it doesn't come in here. I don't know if anyone's told this idiot, Trump's the president. You can't really Trump-proof the city. What the hell does that even mean? Please tell me what Trump-proofing the city even means. It doesn't sound like someone's winning to me, because, if I have to windproof, waterproof, do something, I'm trying to, make sure it can't hurt me. You're admitting on a radio show that you're concerned that Trump might do something and we got to Trump-proof the city. Well, here's interesting. How many Republicans are there in New York City? If you're going to Trump-proof that, means you're telling half, well, I don't know if it was half, but a good portion of New Yorkers, screw you. That's not winning. We're winning. And then this is the worst part.
Use federal funding as leverage over this city, and we will do so in two key ways. The first is to match the state's top corporate tax rate to that of New Jersey. We are at 7.25%. They're at 11.5%. Corporations can pay it over there. They can pay it over here. And the beauty of it is that it doesn't just apply to corporations headquartered in New York City. Because when you say this, people will say, well, they're going to go to Florida. Mm-hmm. Wherever you are headquartered, as long as you do business in the state of New York, you are taxable for that corporate tax. We're talking...
I'm sorry. Does that sound like winning to you? Does it sound like winning that even people who leave in your city, you still want to keep taxing them, even though they're not even here? I can tell you there's no Republican city in the country who's considering taxing people who want to escape. The only people talking about wealth taxes are New York and California, because people are escaping. When you listen closely, you realize, and I hope by the end of this show, you're winning. You don't do that if you're winning. They're losing. So bad, we want to make sure even if people leave, we can still take your money. You were realizing what's going to happen here. If you're going to tell people, even if they do business here, you're going to tax and keep their money. Oh, they just won't do business in New York. Screw it. Business is not going to take well to this. And doesn't that sound like communism? There's no way for you supposedly to leave Cuba. You can't leave North Korea. You just can't leave. You're stuck here forever. There's a wall. No, you can't leave. And these communist policies that they're putting in place is we want to punish you if you get the hell out of here. So I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you. Does that sound like they're winning? Or does it sound like we're winning? When you want to trap people, you want to keep their money as they're fleeing your area, is that winning? So when I see people and I see these idiots on X talking about how we're going to lose the midterms, tell me, who's acting like they're winning and who's acting like they're losing? I've never known anybody anywhere in any city, state that had to trap people to stay.
Corporations that are making millions of dollars, not in revenue, but in profit. And the second is taxing the top 1% of New Yorkers. We're talking about people who make $1 million a year or more, taxing them just by a flat 2% tax increase. And I know if 50 Cent is listening, he's not going to be happy about this. He tends to not like this tax policy, but I want to be very clear. This is about $20,000 a year. It's a rounding error. And all of these things together, they make every New Yorker's life better, including those who are actually getting taxed.
Now, you also...
By taking your money, I'm improving your life. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Let me write you a check to improve my life. I'm trying to understand that. You're going to make my life better by taking my money. I can't.
They need to be defeated each and every day.
I don't get it. Oh, it makes me laugh because I keep seeing the panicans and the black pillars. I can't believe somebody earlier said I sound like I'm doomed. No, just the opposite. I'm trying to tell you that's loser speak. Everything they're doing is loser speak. That's not confidence. Hey, you want to leave? Leave. I got this. We're covered. I'm still going to raise, prices and everything here. We're going to pay everybody's bills, but we're good. No, that's not what he's saying. He's like, you may not like it, but if you leave, we're still going to take everything from you. Hey, the culture is in Western culture. Everything they say, if you actually listen, is them waving the white flag. They just can't let you live your life. They just can't let you be happy. They just can't let you raise your kids the way you want to raise your kids. Why? If you're winning, would you care if certain school didn't have boys playing girls sports? If you're winning, do you care if Transformers aren't allowed in certain libraries? I mean, the people you just said they can have their own voting laws. Can we have our own Transformer laws? No, that's not winning. They're losing. You are winning. You just have to realize it. You just have to embrace it. You have to go to the store and go to the restaurant and enjoy your life instead of looking at these idiots. And I'm calling them idiots. You don't like it? Too bad. That are saying Trump can't win. My latest poll shows he's completely underwater. Here, let me prove it to you. Before we go right here, I'm going to prove it to you right now. If they truly believed that Trump was going to lose, or MAGA, or the Republicans, and they know what these people have in store, they know that if they get in power again, they're going to strip your ability to even post stupid stuff. You're going to have the Ministry of Disinformation. You won't even be able to talk anymore. That's how you know they're full of it, because they only can do what they're doing because they can bamboozle people, because they have the freedom that Elon has provided.
I think free speech is hanging by a thread globally, and that thread is Elon Musk. I mean, literally, that's it. And you can, I would praise Mark Zuckerberg when he moved away from their censorship system to a system more like Elon's. But what's happening on X right now, in the change of consciousness and the way that he's changed the algorithms, to allow for, much more diversity and, let's be honest, a lot more right-wing content than anybody had even been aware existed. I mean, I wasn't even aware that this quantity of right-wing content was possible until you start to see it. And very politically, very, controversial things around race are being talked about migration. Part of me wonders how long it'll last. Like, I just kind of go, it's such an extremely unusual moment to have this level of free speech on a platform. We've never seen anything like it. We've really not seen anything like that level of free speech since I think before the beginning of the 20th century.
I wonder how long it's going to last. You don't have to wonder. There's no wonder to it. If they get back in power, it goes away. And then Mrs. Michael Schellenberger, and he's talking, he's like, I haven't seen this level of content on the right before. It's like kids with, new bikes. They don't know how to act. And because they can talk and put stuff out doesn't mean you should. Just because you have the ability now to talk shit doesn't mean you should be talking shit. They're abusing the privilege, and it is a privilege, that Elon Musk is providing.
Really, after the revolution, up until World War I, you had pretty high levels of free speech. You couldn't really control it because it was printing presses. What's happening now is absolutely extraordinary. So I think the establishment, they're desperate to either shut it down or censor it. Elon himself said the other day, very accurately, and we've been saying something similar, is that they're just looking for justifications to censor. And we should respond to everything that they say, but we should be aware that if one thing goes down, they're going to be looking for something else. It is a central priority for the left, I would say. And it's not to say that there's some people on the right that we saw some bad behavior after the Charlie Kirk thing, demanding censorship, but really it's the left parties and the parties that they're in alliance with, like this, like the Chancellor of Germany, they're out to find stuff to take it down.
So tell me, if you know, because most of us do, if you know that given the opportunity, these people are going to try and take you down, if you know, if they win the elections, for sure they're going to go after Elon Musk, just like Germany and some of these other states have. If you know that, then why the hell are you saying and trying to encourage MAGA to lose? Oh, that's right. It's clicks, likes, and views because you need the Elon bucks. That's what it's all about. We're winning. They know we're winning, but they know they make money because of the algorithm by pushing out crap. And I'm trying to get our audience, our people, our fanfare family to understand, don't buy into this crap. Don't buy into it. In fact, I would even say, like I said earlier on one of my tweets, ignore it. You realize when you sit back and you take an inventory as to what's going on, you're talking about a nucleus of about 100 people out of, I don't know, tens of million people on X. We're talking about a nucleus of about 100 people. If you muted those 100 people, your algorithmic content will completely change. You'll never see it. And so I can't tell you what to do, nor would I tell you what to do. But if you'd like to see things differently, if you'd not like to see it a barrage of Epstein stuff and black pilling doom, mute these. See, if you don't have to unfollow, if you mute them, then, you still follow them. You can always unmute them, but you should probably give it a week or two and see what you see. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm not seeing any of this doom and gloom. No doom and gloom. It's so cleaned up. Trust me. It's like that. So before I go, President Trump thinks SB has posted a couple things on Truth Social. He said there is a massive ecological disaster unfolding in the Potomac River as a result of the gross mismanagement of local Democrat leaders, particularly Governor Wes Moore of Maryland. A sewer line breach in Maryland has caused millions of raw sewage to be dumped, millions of gallons of raw sewage to be dumped directly into the Potomac River as a result of incompetent local and state management of essential waste management systems. This is the same governor who cannot rebuild the bridge. Remember the Francis Scott Key Bridge. I don't think they fixed it yet. It is clear local authorities cannot adequately handle this calamity. Therefore, I am directing federal authorities to immediately provide all necessary management, direction, and coordination to protect the Potomac, the water supply in the capital region. I can't allow incompetent local leadership to turn the river into the heart of Washington into a disaster zone. As we saw in the Palisades, the Democrat war on merit has real consequences. The federal government has no choice but to step in. FEMA, which is currently defunded by the Democrats, will play a key role in coordinating the response. So FEMA is currently defunded, and now we have an emergency. So you would think that Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries would say, hey, this is right here where we are in Washington. Maybe we should revote here real quick and authorize this stuff for people who got to clean up the poop, the poopy water. Oh, hey, stanky poopy water, millions and millions of gallons of this stuff. What are you people, idiots? But it sounds to me like the word emergency may cause something to happen here. I mentioned that before. I said, if we're at a point where we're looking at a emergency, wonder what would happen. He followed up with this, happy President's Day, prices and inflation are way down. The stock market and your 401ks are way up. Our military is strong and powerful. Our law enforcement is great, and our border is 100% secure. Murders and crime since 1900 are at a record low, and our country is bigger, better, and stronger than ever before, working hard. And you know what they call that? Yeah.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
So, again, he is being forced to highlight the winning because not enough people are pushing it out there. This is not something that you can take lightly. It's not something you can say, he's talking about it, because these 100 people, I mean, literally, it's about 100 people are talking about all this stuff, and they're making this a priority. Disclaimer, I'm not saying that, what happened to these kids and women, should be ignored, but I'm pretty sure most of the country likes this stuff better and is more important to them. I'm almost positive that most of the country says, you know what? Stock market, 401k, the military, strong and powerful, law enforcement is great, the border is secure, murders at a 200-year low, crime at record lows, country bigger. I'm pretty sure most of the nation says, I want that to continue. And if you're someone who wants the culture of America to continue and wants these kinds of things to continue, then that's what you need to be focused on, because each and everything he just mentioned, every single thing he just mentioned, maybe not the stock market for some people, but every other thing in there affects you personally. You specifically. And as much as we want to delve through files and look around and everything else, it doesn't do anything for you. Your emotion, maybe. You're like, hey, I wish something would happen. Like I said, well, then focus on what's happening now. Go work at a sheriff's office. Go volunteer at a women's shelter. Go volunteer with Tim Tebow's organization. If you really care, focus on the people we can save now. I'm just saying. I know some people are like, Barry, but the kids. What kids? The ones that are already done, or whatever. Mm-hmm. The demons are saying, pipe that poop into the VA, Virginia and Maryland governor's mansion. Yeah, just poop it in there. Oh my goodness, everything is crazy. All right, so I'm gonna get the tickets for the movie as well. We'll get those going. I think you guys are going to love that movie. I mean, it was something that I didn't know I would enjoy that much, and it was fantastic. And let people know, man. It's just stop letting these panicans rule your lives. And not rule your lives, but take your focus away from what's going on, because it's all B crap. It's crap. All right, let me do super chats, and then I got to go to lunch here. Hillary had a trans man as her first expert. Oh yeah, that was McBride. It was her expert on her panel for women's rights. Just goes to show you how twisted the whole thing is. I have to wonder how many of the people watching that were like, you know, that's just like Starfleet. American culture is based on Judeo-Christian traditions. I completely agree. If the president had to listen to everybody's ideas, he would be running around in circles and accomplishing absolutely nothing. Let him do his agenda. Agreed. Hi, Jenka. Thank you. Heidi, thank you. Dan, Demon of Cybertron. Go to HEB in Texas, and you will see what prosperity looks like. This weekend was so packed, I thought it was the mall park. It's only a grocery store. Wow. Barry Canova. Barry, if you want to, Radio Shack can eliminate the muted microphone issue with a USB plug-in. Unit LED will flash when you mute your mic for 2 cents. I need a XLR. So if it works with XLR, then I could do something. Or I can just leave it on. You can hear me cough, sneeze, go to the bathroom. Chiosop, when you complain about Trump, you're like the deranged mentally little libtards that we make fun of. Let the guy do what he elected, hired to do. Patience. Yeah, if he doesn't get the job done, we'll know. You don't have to keep telling us a year from now or all the way in November, though, or it's no chance. Barry, we can see just how deep the deep state is. People on the right are wolves in sheep's clothing. Their job is to try and divide MAGA. We need to pray for Trump as well. We'll see some things soon that will shock us. I believe that. Jim, only God knows the truth here. That's why there's a hell coming fast down the road. Rody Red, thank you. Oh, that went too fast. Grits. Did I say grits? Barry, thank you. The interview with Mark is one of the best interviews you've ever done. Thank you. You're both so genuine. You can feel your passion for the country. I am so proud to be an American in MAGA. Love your POTUS and FLOTUS. Thank you very much. And it was all smiles because I enjoyed that movie so much, and the interview came about just like that. I was like, and I'm reading credits. I'm like, Mark Beckman, Ashley, yeah, is that the same Mark Beckman? Yeah, you need to call him. We already had him on. We'll get him back. I didn't know he was her advisor for 20 years. I'm like, oh, now he needs to get her on the show. Get Melania on the show. Please, I would love it. In fact, I bet you if I got Melania on the show, you'd be the first appearance with Robin. She'd be sitting right next to me. Oh, God, that would be funny. She'd probably push me out the way. Chiosop, I get bashed for supporting Trump on Facebook, and recently I got a DM from someone telling me I was right and and he left the Dems. It made it worth the torture. Exactly. Hey, Neo, very so right. Thank you. So glad we keep winning. My 401k up, positivity, great interview. Can't wait to see Melania. If you haven't seen it, please. And I don't make any money off of it. I'm just saying it was a good movie. Farah, please do an episode on Trump's admin progress on human trafficking. He arrests the rescues, the networks dismantled. No one reports on it. Nope, nobody does. Cheers up. I'm going to see if we can't get Tim Tebow on because, man, he's doing some work. He's doing some serious work. Cheers up. If you keep fighting yesterday's wars, you'll always be fighting them because today's new victims are created for tomorrow's yesterday. Wow. Very well said. Very, very well said. I like that. And Nicholas, how you doing? Very so glad that Westmore is under scrutiny. He is so incompetent, and so is the mayor of Baltimore. Can't wait till Trump makes Maryland great. I cannot believe you guys have never been to the Inner Harbor. I cannot believe that everything is being closed there. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. All right, everybody. I was planning on doing a show tonight, but Ashley's first flight home got canceled. She had another flight at 3:00. It got canceled. And so I have to be on standby in case she, well, I'll know before 7:00 if she gets out. If she doesn't get out, like obviously we got to do something to get her back. So I'll have to keep you guys abreast of anything. Plus, there's not really a whole lot going on because people aren't working because it's President's Day. So I'll let you know what happens tonight. Thanks for tuning in.